everybody. Excuse me. It is great to be joining you on this Friday, and I'm going to be showing you kind of a reverse of this card here, but we are going to be doing ink over embossing, and I hope you are really happy to join me today. So we're going to be using the Paradise Garden Bundle. So that comes with the stamps. As you can see, all these lovely stamps here. And then it has the Paradise Garden Hybrid Embossing Folder. So we have that. And then you have all these great, wonderful dies. So we are going to be using some of the dies and the embossing folder and the stamps today. So if you are joining me, whether you're joining me live or in replay, as always, please do make comments. I love to hear um, your comments and how things are going with you. Today we are kind of overcast here in the Denver, Colorado area, but I am so happy that you are joining me today. It's going to be a little cooler, but not too cool, in the 60s. That's not too bad, right? So we have this one where we had a Blackberry Bliss. This was from my monochromatic Instagram hop that I also post on Facebook. And so this is the Blackberry Bliss, but we're going to kind of reverse that, and we're going to start out with a card base of basic white thick cardstock. So this is the thick basic white. And then we also have a scrap to do our sentiment die cut, and we have some other pieces here. We have a scrap of vellum and we're going to be using the 2 3/8. I don't know if you can see that. The 2 3/8. Yeah, you can see it better on the end here. The 2 3/8 inch circle punch with our vellum. And then we have another scrap of the Blackberry Bliss. So let's measure a couple of things here so that you know what to start with. So our standard card base, which is half of an 8 by 11, 8.5 by 11. So that comes out to 5.5, which is half of 11, and then 8.5 inches. And then half of 8.5 inches is 4.25, and that is where our score line is. Then we have a piece of regular weight basic white, so just regular basic white, and this is 3.25 inches by 4.5 inches. And then we have a piece of Blackberry Bliss for a layer, and that is 3.5 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So these two pieces are just 1/4 inch difference. So the Blackberry Bliss is 1/4 inch larger than the basic white. Oh goodness, what was that under my desk? So we have this piece of basic white thick for our card base, and we're going to go ahead and give it a good crease here. We're going to fold it at the score line and give it a good crease. Bone folders are fabulous. If you don't have a bone folder, you need to get one. So we have this basic white thick card base, and let's go ahead and let's do some of our stamping. Let's see, what do I want? Oh, no, not stamping. Well, I have to stamp, we're going to do die cutting, but I have to stamp this one first before we can die cut it. And then we'll stamp our sentiment later after we get the die cut. All right, so let's take our basic black scrap, and then this stamp, which is just kind of some foliage here, and we're going to stamp that in white, the Whisper White craft ink. This is a very old pad, very old style, but it still works, and I can still get refills for it. So if you have pads that you can still get refills for, and your pad is still in good shape, go ahead and use it. So we're going to stamp this in the basic white, and you got to be careful because this is a foam pad, and not to smush in too hard. So just kind of lightly tap this and just kind of move it around to get some good coverage. You want to make sure that that's fully covered with the white. And since this is a stained stamp from using the Blackberry Bliss in my previous card, it kind of helps me to know when I've got good coverage with the white. Okay, but first, let's bring out the embossing toolkit. And the embossing toolkit comes with your tray and a brush to get some of that embossing powder off. And then it comes with these reverse tweezers here. So that's a really, oh, and the embossing buddy. That's a really great thing to have if you plan to do any powder embossing. So first off, we're going to treat our cardstock that we're going to stamp on. We're going to treat it with the embossing buddy to kind of make sure we don't have any fingerprints and things on it, and static, to get rid of the static for the powder to stick on. So let's go ahead, checking that again, and we're going to stamp this on our Blackberry Bliss. Kind of get it so that when I die cut it, it's gonna get everything. So I'm just kind of holding it there, making sure we get good transference. Now your craft ink or your pigment ink will stay on top of your cardstock. It does not soak in like the dye inks do, but we do still want to make sure that we got good coverage there. So just kind of walking around. Beautiful. All right, now we are going to bring out our tray, and we're going to bring out some basic white, yes, some white embossing powder. This is an old jar, but we do still have the Wow embossing powders in the basics assortment, which you get a jar of white, clear, and black in the basics. So really good value because you get 3 of them. So we're just going to sprinkle some of this liberally over this. Make sure we get good coverage with our powder. So I'm kind of doing this card start to finish. I don't always do that. Sometimes I skip steps to make the video go a little faster. But today we're going to do this start to finish. And we will see this tray has an opening in the bottom, so I can just put that embossing powder right back into my container. But we are going to do that cleanup a little later. So we've got this. Do we have any areas that we might have it where we don't really want it? A couple of little ones. Sometimes I bring in my take your pick tool, which, yeah, my good one that I use all the time, the one with the tips I use all the time, is in the other room because I was creating where the TV is. But this one has the pointed tip, and so we can kind of just get this embossing powder off if it's in any areas that we don't want. Alright, now we have a heat tool. So our heat tool here has 2 settings. Has a low that's more for like drying, and then the 2, which is hot enough for the embossing. And we can take these nice little scissors and we can hold this just like so, and then we're going to get that heat powder melted. So I hope you can still hear me about the heat tool. We're just kind of doing this. We want this powder to go shiny. That's the magic of heat embossing with the powders. So It might take a little bit for this to get heated up. Sometimes I'll kind of leave it and oh, there it goes. There's some. It's going. I can see it. It's starting to turn shiny. I don't know if you can see it, but it is turning shiny. So that powder is melting. So you just want to get the powder melted. You don't want to keep holding it over once the powder's melted because it will just soak into your cardstock, especially the gold, the metallics and the silvers do that especially. So I have just a little bit here that I can just kind of scratch off a little bit more with this pointed tip. So that we have a nice crisp, and you know what, it really isn't bad. I mean, if you wanted to leave those little spots, you absolutely could. It really isn't that big of a deal. I was just showing you that if you do want to get rid of them, you can kind of scratch that off after the fact. Okay, now we just want to get some of that powder from our embossing buddy. Now don't do the powder from the embossing buddy until you get that completely cool, because you don't want to mess that up, because if it's hot but not cool, it will kind of spread on you. All right, so we have that and we have this, and we are going to bring in our whatchamacallit, yes, the cut and emboss, our large stamp and cut and emboss machine. We're going to bring that in, and we're going to get a couple of dies out of our set as well. And I love that our machine folds up. It makes it really nice for storage. And then we are going for cutting, we're going to need the it says it right here on this, but I'll tell you, it's the number 1, the number 2. Okay, see, there are instructions on there. One of the number 3s. So this is my bottom one. It's the one that's all really cut up. And then this is the top one, which is much nicer. I do need to clean off some of the adhesive that's gotten on there. But we are going to move on, and we're going to grab out of here, out of our die pack here, we're going to grab this sheet. This is for the hybrid part of the embossing folder, which we're not going to use today. But we're going to need this one here. Oops. I have put a little pieces of magnet sheet back there. And we're going to need this one. So we're going to need those two. And we are going to be die cutting here. Okay. Yes. Get this. And let's line this up. So this white on this dark cardstock looks very nice and very bold. And we're going to put some washi tape down. Now this is the washi tape I've been using for a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of sticky left on it, which is good. We don't want it to tear our paper. And we have this one here that we're going to do just on our leftover scrap strip of the basic white. And I think I might want a little more tape to hold that down. And then when I need to take a little sticky off, I just kind of use the oil for my hands and just do it that way. Okay, so I think I want to go put this at an angle like this, because if you put it in an angle, it kind of cuts just a little bit better. So there we have it. Now where'd my clear plate go? Hi everyone who's joining me today. I am so glad you're here. So let's go ahead and get this. And sometimes I go ahead, if I've got like a long strip, and I might go ahead, especially for my sentiment dies, go ahead and cut another one just in case I mess up. All right. So we are going to cut another one of these. Cutting it again, trying to make it a little bit of an angle. And there we have it. We've got 2 of these. And if I don't use this, I'll just put that in my die packet. And if I don't use both of them. And okay, I like to keep my my washi tape that I'm using for die cutting just kind of hanging out on my machine for until it's all used up. I'm going to fold this back up, get rid of my scrap pieces from that, and we're going to put this back under my table again, and we're going to put these back on my sheet so that I don't lose them. Oh, we have a couple pieces here that didn't pop out, so we're just going to pop those out right there. These are just little pieces in the die, and I always try to make sure my dies are nice and clean and that I put them away so that I don't lose them. Oh, goodness. Okay, so now we have this piece here. It's got the white with kind of with the outline of the Blackberry Bliss. And then we have this one here, and now we're going to set this up for stamping. So we have this thank you here that comes in this Paradise Garden set, and it's kind of straight, but I wanted it to fit my curve, so put it on here, and then I started bending it so that it fit my curve. So it's a photopolymer, so it's kind of sticking a little bit to the paper, and then I put it on my block. But that's how you kind of mold your pieces to fit your die. So let's bring in the Blackberry Bliss. And let's just, again, our pads are currently the firm foam. So don't be pushing into your pad, just kind of lightly tap it. You can kind of move it back and forth to make sure you get good ink coverage, but just make sure that you've got a light touch with those foam pads. Now, hopefully I'll get this straight. And that's going to go right there. And I'm just going to hold it there. This is dye ink. This will soak into the paper. So if you just kind of hold it there for a little bit, make sure that my K is going to stamp well. And there we go. Beautiful. Excuse me. I think the allergies are getting to me. I got little frogs in my throat. So, what do we do next? Yes, we're going to do some more fun stuff. Okay, we're going to put these pieces aside, and we're going to bring the machine back out again because we need to do the dry embossing with the folder. So this needs a different sandwich. This one needs this sandwich here. We're using with 3D embossing folders, you use the number 1 and the number 4. Let's get my embossing folder out here. I love all the pretty leaves with this. And if you wanted, I don't want it to be wet because I don't want to take the time to dry it. But if you wanted to get an even deeper impression, you could mist this. Um, so we want the deboss side to stand out. So we're just going to um, line that up, get our sandwich ready, and then bring our machine back again. We're going to run this sandwich through our machine. Again, closing this back up. And we have our piece here. Now, this is the emboss side where it's raised up. That is the side that I used on this one. I did use the white ink on the Blackberry Bliss, and I just ran the pad over the emboss side, the raised side. We're going to do this. We're going to do a technique on the debossed side, and we are going to bring in a piece. Oh, I think I need a larger piece than that. Where is it? I know I have larger pieces here. Yes. Here is a scrap paper, and we're going to bring that in, and we're going to use the Blackberry Bliss ink, and we're just going to drag that across. And get the coverage that we want. I'm going to get my tweezers out here. Okay, I think I need to hold that. Nope, it's not holding. Guess my fingers it is. So we're just going to drag that. I want mine nice and dark. You would not have to have yours dark like this. Just going to play with it and do the darkness that you want. I do want mine nice and dark. It's going to get a little bit, it's going to be kind of a shabby look. You will get a little bit into your, some of your white leaf spaces, just a little bit. Don't worry about it. It's just kind of a shabby look. We are not going to worry about that. So I'm just kind of maybe doing a little bit in some of the areas so that it all kind of matches. But so that's kind of a different look. Instead of the white on the dark, we're doing dark on the white. And this is going to be nice and wet. So I am going to use my tweezers, and I'm going to get my heat tool. I'm going to put it on high, and I'm going to try to give that some drying because that ink is very wet right now. You could absolutely let this air dry, but if you don't want to do that, you can use your heat tool. Like I said, you could use it on the 1 setting, but I'm going to use it on the 2 setting because I want to make sure that that gets nice and dry. We're going to check that and maybe move those tweezers around a bit. I think it's getting very dry. Okay, I think that's dry. Seems to be dry, at least dry enough for our purposes. And So there we have that piece. And now you've seen me do the kind of ink over the embossing folder, or ink dragging. So let's go ahead and let's attach this to our layer. And what are we going to use? We are going to use some multi-purpose liquid glue. And we're going to get that on there. Woo! That was a lot. So we're going to spread that out. That was quite a lot there. But we're going to spread that out. That's why I don't go too close to the edges. Because if you do that and it's too close to the edge, that will really ooze out. Whoop, there we go. So now we're going to give this an even border all the way around. As you can see, it gives a very different look here. And what other piece do we need? We've got our pieces here. We're getting them ready. Oh, we need a vellum piece. So again, this is the 2 3/8 inch punch. And we're going to turn it over so we can see. So this is just a scrap of vellum. And we do sell it in the 12 by 12 size now. So there we have those pieces. And let's start doing some assembly. Let's get this. Let's bring in some, let's see, do I have some larger ones or do I have only small ones left? The black dimensionals, they come with, oh goodness, they come with minis and regular size in the black package. So you get 3 of each, you get 6 total. So I am going to just cut some pieces here of the edge so I can get some larger pieces. Oh, that one just stuck to something. Don't know what it stuck to. Here it is. It's right here on my scissor minder chain. So we're just putting some edges. Make sure that when you're doing this, that you know, using your dimensionals, you use every single bit of that, all the edges and everything. It's very, you know, economical if you use everything on that sheet. Let's get another big one and maybe a couple little ones. I'm overdoing this. I know I am. But there we have it. And we can put this on our card base. We do have a pointy end of a take your pick tool here. So we can use that to get our papers off really fast. And it helps if you don't have fingernails or if you have fancy fingernails. Either way, it does help. So let's get this on our little, see, it wasn't quite dry. Can we cover that up? I think so. Yep, that piece, that ink was not quite dry. Close, but not quite. All right. Well, let's go ahead. You know me, I love lots of dimensionals. So we are going to put a bunch on here. We're going to get some edge pieces as well. We're just going to not have any saggy parts at all. There we go. We can save this one for another time. All right, let's get this on. Oops. Oh, my fingers have a lot of ink on them. It's getting on the papers and the dimensionals. If you find that you have a lot of ink on your hands and it's a dark ink, make sure you have something to wipe them off onto. So let's just cover that little smudge up there. I got a little smudge on the edge, so let's just take that all the way to the edge and cover up that smudge. Oh yeah, we need to put this piece behind. So we do need a glue dot. This is a brand new box of glue dots. Out of my drawer here. Oh, here's a glue dot right here. So I'm going to put a couple little glue dots kind of down here in this corner because I'm not sure where our other piece is going to go. The vellum doesn't have to be 100% attached, but you do need to kind of put your adhesive in places that are going to be covered up. So there's my vellum, and we're going to get some minis out for this. So I hope you guys are enjoying my presentation, and like I said, I decided to do this kind of a start to finish because I don't always do that, and maybe there might be somebody that's new or this technique is new to them, and I wanted to make sure that they knew exactly what I was doing. And if you're watching this on replay, the beauty of that is if you don't want to see me go through all the steps, you can just fast forward. Or if you want to watch it again, you can just fast forward through the parts that you don't need to see again. So let's just kind of put this right about here. And then I have some ribbon that is on the last chance list. It's really nice ribbon. It's a nice linen ribbon. It's got some heft to it. This is the gold and white, the gold white, not a hyphen. It just says, oh, there is a comma, I guess. Gold, comma, white. So this is the gold white ribbon. I'm not going to tie a bow. I'm just going to tie a knot. So just tying a knot in the end of this ribbon roll, and then I will trim it to how I want it. So there we have it. And we've got our scissors again. So I want to do it this way. I want my ends to match. So there we have our ribbon. This one end might be a little longer than the other, and then now it's still longer than the other. Okay. We will just make them match. And there's very little waste that way. Now we need a glue dot to put this on. And we're just going to, we don't want to cover up our thank you. So we're just going to put this on like this. Oh, I think I still have one end longer than the other. So let me just fix that. Oh, a little frayed part there. Cutting at an angle does help the fraying. So there we have our little ribbon on. And since that have the gold in our ribbon, I am bringing in the adhesive backed metallic gems. Oh, there went one of my lights. And so I'm going to just open the blinds to get a little more light. And let's just pull out. I have some from another pack. I'm going to use up some of those, and I'm going to find the gold. They do come in gold, copper, gold, and silver, but I do want the gold. So, just going to bring this over here, put it right on the end there. Oh, we'll put some adhesive there. There we go. And then I want another one. I'll just lift that up and put that probably right about here. I'm not pressing real hard yet in case I want to move my gems around. Yeah, I think I want to move this one. Or maybe there. Yeah, I like it there better. Okay, so there we have the outside, and let me bring in a stamp to do the inside. Thank you. You make the world a better place. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna take this off. I haven't cleaned it yet, so I'm gonna save it on the outside of my package. I don't know if anyone else does that. Save it on the outside of your package until you clean it. I do that. It's kind of funny. So I'm going to do the You Make the World a Better Place. And maybe one of these leaves here too. There we go. So now I'm just going to get this, I'm going to put this down on my glass mat. And do I want this width on there at the same time? Maybe. No, I don't. I'll just put that on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to move it over like this. And then I'm going to flip it over so my one stamp is that way and my other stamp is this way so that I can have two surfaces here. And then I'm going to bring my Blackberry Bliss and my really ugly piece of scrap here. And we're going to do some stamping ahead of time since this is a brand new stamp. So we're going to kind of make sure it is kind of a little bit conditioned with the ink. I'm going to bring this, open this up, and do our You Make the World a Better Place on the inside. Move it over just a little left of center because I do want to put this on there. Okay. Beautiful. So somebody will be very happy to get that thank you card from me. So I hope you have enjoyed my presentation today. And let's show the difference between the two. So it's basically the same card, same layout, same supplies, just two different looks. And tell me, do you like the darker background or the lighter background? And if you want to stay around for just a second, I will show you a tiny sneak peek of something. Something that is brand new, and you may have already seen it, but you might not have. So we're going to move these over, and I have my big box. This box is huge and very heavy because it's got like a bunch of papers and stuff in it. these are the new in colors, and they do come with the blends, and of course when you buy the pads, you want to buy the reinkers, and then you want to buy the assortment pack. I don't know if you can see that, the assortment pack of the in colors. So and if you want, you can also buy some ribbons in those colors. I only got 2 colors, but I'm just going to show you these ink pads and how they open for a second. They are super cool because they are magnetic. So, and because they're magnetic, they are a little more expensive, but it is really fun and really easy to open. Some of you have had a really hard time opening the pads. Now this is barely blush. I'm going to have to, it's really hard to see the writing, the white on the very pale color. So I'm going to have to take my label maker and make a little label in the black and white so I can see what the color is better. But they're magnetic and they open so easy. And then you can put the lid underneath the pad if you wish, and it will stay. Um, there are labels, so you can still label it, and then you have it written under there. So if you use all the labels you want, it is still on your ink pad on the bottom, which pad it is. So those are like super, super cool. Now they are changing from the foam to linen. And so these are more like our original pads were all linen. The original Stampin' Up! Pads were all the felt um, linen type pads. And so if you get the spots with the yeah, either the uninked or the spots that come in the paper pumpkins, those are the same type of pad inside there, those felt pads in there. So those are really cool. They will stack on top of each other. You can't, I mean, they kind of stick together, but you do kind of have to hold them a little bit, but they will stack on top of each other. So we have the Barely Blush, Crisp Cantaloupe, Golden Glow, Peaceful Pine, which is a really nice green, and the Hydrangea Hue, which is a light blue with a purple hue to it. So I think these two are probably my favorite, but some of the rest of you are really excited about some of the other colors. Like I know someone in particular that is excited about the Crisp Cantaloupe coming back. Crisp Cantaloupe was in color several years ago, and they brought it back again, just like they brought the Pretty in Pink, which is now going away. So that's just a little tiny sneak peek of what's coming in May. And again, thank you so much for watching my video. And this is the one I did today. This is the one I made for my Blackberry Bliss monochromatic Instagram hop. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Please tell me what you think. And as always, I love, love, love your comments. And I'm excited to come back next week. Thanks for joining me today. Until next time, bye.